the leaders, Karyakartas of all the Hindu YUVA registered chapters and the aspiring chapters who are present here, all the community leaders and the seniors who are also. My namaste to all of you. It is indeed a very, very happy occasion. It is very joyful for many different reasons. One is that finally we get to meet post-COVID in person. So that is one big reason to be very happy. Secondly, finally, after 6 years, Hindu YUVA National Summit is happening. Or at least the gathering of all the Hindu YUVAs is happening. Third, it is very historic because, as Darshanji mentioned yesterday, this is first time ever in the history of the United States that Hindu students who are leaders in their own campuses from 64 campuses have come together. This is truly historic. Then it was called a summit. Summit means converging together at the top. The leadership comes and meets. Not only Hindu YUVA, but we got leaders from different organizations who have presence on campus and in the community. Not only from the United States, but from Canada as well as the UK. So in a true sense, it was a summit, something like G20 summit, SARC summit, G64. So we have the G64 summit that's happening. But in G20, the 20 doesn't change. In G64, 64 will keep changing. It will keep rising. And Darshanji mentioned that at least 200 campuses where some Hindu student presence is there, so which means that is the kind of our goal. Also, it's a great coincidence that today is 9/11. 9/11 evokes two different kind of emotions in America. One, of course, one of the darkest days in the history of United States, of 9/11, what happened in New York in 2001. It has left a scar on the collective mind of America. The other one, though, for all of us and for many other Americans as well, it is something that evokes a lot of inspiration. And that is the day when Swami Vivekananda came right here in Chicago 129 years ago in 1893 and delivered his famous speech. One short speech of 5 minutes. And he mesmerized the audience, getting invitations from coast to coast to speak to audience, elite audience, all kinds of audience, intellectual audience. A 30-year-old young man coming from a country which at that time was an enslaved country, making an impact on the minds of Americans in ways where somebody has described him as a cyclonic Swami who created waves in America at that time. We'll come back to that, what Swamiji's message was for America and all that. But today is that day. What a coincidence. Exactly 4 years ago, on the same day, I think some of us were also in Chicago. Who was in Chicago 4 years ago for the World Hindu Congress? It was the exact same dates, 9th, 10th and 11th of September. So there is something about these days that a lot of positive things keep happening on the shores of Lake Michigan in Chicago. So we are all filled with joy. In fact, if I have to borrow the words of Swami Vivekananda from the same 5-minute speech, he says that it gives me a joy unspeakable. The joy that cannot be described in words. But in my case, the joy unspeakable is because my challenge is, what should I speak? Everything that needed to be said was already said in all the sessions. I had in mind to say Yuva, but Darshanji already. I also wanted to talk about how long it takes to complete a PhD. That came 2, 3, 4 times. But if we can categorize the sessions, and if I just take the gems from every session, a beautiful ornament can be created. And that's what I'll try to create. First of all, some of you got the chance to speak here about your experiences, but how many of you came here with a certain expectation and you think that your expectation was met? How many of you feel like that? That you came here with something in mind and it met your expectation. Very good. Okay, let's see a little bit more also, because Darshanji mentioned that such kind of national summits have happened in the past, right? This is the 5th one. If we take out the 2005, there it is the 5th one. How many of you were there in the similar program or event in 2008? Some of you may still be around. Okay, very good. How many of you are there in 2010? Orlando. A few more hands up. How many of you are there in 2012? Again in Texas. Okay, a little more. Few minutes. 2016, maybe a few more. Okay, 2016, very good. And of course, now we are here. One would have thought that because of the pandemic, the work will suffer, but looks like between 2016 and now, there is a great upsurge. It's a growing graph of Hindu Yuva chapters, and what we are seeing is the testimony of that. So we are growing, we are on the upward trend, that is for sure. How many of you feel that you got something that will help you when you go back in your own chapters? Okay, everybody feel it almost, okay. How many of you feel that you met some people that you wouldn't have met if you had not come to the summit? Oh, very good. What according to you was the high point in this summit? Now you cannot raise hands, you have to say it. Bhajans, okay. Meeting new people. Not the snow cone? What else? The keynotes, okay. The Q&A was a high point, okay. Sorry? Pangat Bhojan, being served by somebody. Which one? The Geet, the Charaiveti Geet. Okay, wonderful. Very good. So I think all of us are taking back something with us that will definitely help us continue our work in our own chapters. Now going ahead, looking at each and the categories of sessions that I mentioned. One category of the sessions were very, very practical. One session was about how to strengthen the chapter, and very practical tips. I could go to each and every group, and there was lively discussion. Everybody was participating. That's one thing I must appreciate, each and every one of you here, that everybody was here on time, full time, fully participating. I think this is exactly how you are in your classes in the universities. But it was wonderful that all of you are here fully, physically, mentally, and in the sessions participating as well. So practical things like how to register, how to find and look for the advisors, how to form a team, how to start new events, how to publicize our events. It was just wonderful that some new chapters were discussing something, some of the more established chapters were thinking about how to go beyond it, how to create more impact, better impact on campuses. So I think that was also wonderful. Then there were sessions about how to collaborate, how to do something that is necessary on campus, some kind of activism, some kind of seva activities. Then there were sessions which were motivational. All the conversations that took place with Hamidji, with Saiji, and of course the keynote by Maninandaji. You see, everybody here is a Yuva. Not only by wearing the t-shirt one becomes Yuva. I once read a quotation by former Prime Minister of Israel, Shimon Peres. He says that you are as young as your dreams, not as old as your calendar. So by that, everybody here is a Yuva, and we could learn from each other with some younger Yuvas and some older Yuvas. So that motivation, in that will also clarity about why the word Hindu. What is that we can offer, we should offer. Amitji's session answers some of those questions. How to balance. Saiji beautifully answered about all these things. How to remain firm and grounded. That kind of conviction and that kind of commitment. Nandaji gave us the direction of how to choose our careers, how to choose our path in the future. Also describing that the turmoil that America is going through, what role we have to play and how Hindu Yuva must grow to be able to make a difference in that scenario. We got so much out of these sessions. Darshanji had mentioned about taking risks, but then Amitji again mentioned that taking risks, but more prudent, not the other kind of risks. All of you remember? Because there is a difference between taking risks and being reckless. Taking risks doesn't mean to be reckless. Taking risk means there has to be a higher purpose to take a risk, not for the sake of it. And hence we talked about the session called what kind of virtues. The 12 virtues of Prabhu Sri Ram that are posted everywhere, it's there in your brochure as well. And then I got to see the word clouds that all of you created about what should be the qualities of a Karyakarta, of a Hindu Yuva Karyakarta. I'm not sure if you have access to, do they have access to it as yet?
Not yet.
But eventually you'll have it. It's beautiful. All of you have come up with those words, and those word clouds speak what you have in your mind. You are telling that a Hindu Yuva Karyakarta should be confident, should be a good communicator, should be inclusive, should be compassionate, should be a team player. He's not be saying, all of you in all the groups that you have discussed and put together, those word clouds are there. I'm sure that will be there with you when you go back as a reference point. This is what we want to become. This is what we are aspiring for. That in our Hindu Yuva chapters, these are the kind of Karyakartas that we will develop, and it will start from myself. I want to become like that. Because leader is a big word. We want to become, sometimes in the West nowadays, in the corporate world also, they use a term called servant leader. A leader who is ready to serve first. So that Yuva also means that Yuva means Yuva, but somebody who is always willing to share the credit. Yuva, not just Niva. You see? So those are the kind of qualities that we want to pick up and become better Karyakartas. And to be able to create everything that we discussed, not only on campus, even beyond campus, because in our midst we also have some young professionals who also come together. They are out of university, but they are also here. And in front of us, we were presented with so many different opportunities to contribute. Something that is already happening, whether it is about understanding Hindu phobia, about Hindu University of America, ICCS, Seva International, Saumitra Bharati, so many of them. And the list is not comprehensive. We don't have to stop there. There can be many more things that are needed in our community. And we are the ones who will think about it, and we are the ones who can take the initiative, take the first step to start making the difference. Hindu Yuva is a club, but you see the word club has a certain connotations that come to mind. You know, a club can be exclusive, no? You need to have a membership for a club, and you just cannot get into a club. But Hindu Yuva clubs are quite inclusive. You know? You be aayenge, we will accept, we will get them in. Sometimes club means, once you say club, typically just having fun, just having party, that comes to mind. Just a social club. But we realize now that Hindu Yuva is not just that. Yes, we will have fun. Yes, we will have so much fun together. Entire day yesterday we had, especially in the evening. It was high energy, so much enthusiasm. Anybody in this room felt that? All of us felt it. Yes, we will have that, but we also exist because we have a higher role to play. We have a higher purpose for our existence. We are not just a club, mere club. And hence we are talking about our mission. You see, Nandaji mentioned about that Washington DC being dysfunctional, polarization reaching up to the family level. Society is polarized and families are polarized. We are going through a lot of turmoil, not just in the United States. This is happening worldwide. Mental issues are on the rise like never before, especially among the young people. Can we, Hindu Yuva, rise above these challenges? Can we, Hindu Yuva, have the clarity that we also can make a small little difference on our campuses, understanding these issues, and we have our own way to deal with this. At least anybody who becomes part of Hindu Yuva should not be touched by these negativity and these kind of negative issues that are all around. But yes, they say that the world order is changing. And hence this kind of transition period that we are going through, in that one, we Hindus, we have a special role to play. I mentioned about Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda mentions at one place that the world owes a lot to the mild Hindu, to the gentle Hindu. So in this whole polarized world, the world of turmoil, transition, we, an ancient civilization which is most relevant even today, we have a great role to play to stabilize this whole atmosphere. We need to understand that. What exactly that means. So the gentle Hindu, the mild Hindu. But then, one saint in Bharat, in Maharashtra actually, Sant Tukaram, he has one, song. What it says is that we are Vishnudas, the devotees of Vishnu. We are as soft as wax, but we can pierce thunderbolt. We are as soft as wax, but we have the capacity to pierce Vajra, means thunderbolt. If somebody is in need, we will give up our own clothes to that person. But if somebody is hostile towards us, we won't look behind to defend ourselves and to be aggressive as well. So when Swamiji mentions that the mild Hindu, the gentle Hindu, it is for the welfare of the entire world, the well-being of the entire world. But when it comes to our own interests, that doesn't mean that we just take it lying down. But we have to gain that kind of confidence, both intellectual as well as verbal confidence, to be able to deal with these issues, to understand these issues in depth. So amongst us, Siddeji mentioned that who can write, who can do some deep study. Amongst us, we'll have to come up with these, individuals who will do deep study and create that kind of verbal confidence to be able to defend ourselves. And also to do creative things to present our story. Like we saw the Project Janani happening. I know some of our ones are now doing podcasts. It's a very welcome move. More and more of that we need. Most of the times in history of mankind, change has come from students and youth. If you have seen the TV serial of R.A. Chanakya, the whole movement of unifying India some 2,300, 400 years ago started from the universities. Students coming together. Chhatrapati Shivaji was only 16 years old and all his friends were of similar age when they vowed to create a Hindu Swaraj. Not only Bharat, right here, the civil rights movement, primarily coming from young people, from students. Even now in Myanmar, those who are rising against the military rule are the youth in that country, the students in that country who want to make that change. You see, Hindus coming to this country for studying also has a long history. I'm sure all of you know about Anandibai Joshi. She is the first Indian woman to get trained in the Western medical science. She graduated as early as 1886 from Pennsylvania. I think recently some Yuvas went to her tomb, isn't it? And then they have posted something. Even before that, in 1882, you will be surprised. You see, all this what is happening, students coming to this country in the universities and excelling in their field, that itself is a very long history that continues even now, just growing in numbers. Whether it is Subramanya Chandrasekhar right here in University of Chicago, up to Sunita Williams, who is the astronaut who went to space with Bhagavad Gita, or Dr. Swati Mohan, who is proud to be a Hindu and places the Ganesha in her office working for NASA. Whether it is Manjul Bhargava in Princeton University, whether there are so many researchers and people who have excelled in business, in science, in medical field, all kinds of fields, economics. So Hindus coming to this country for studying and excelling and accomplishing great heights is not new and it continues in a very big way. Just this year, 86,000 students from India have come to the United States. Have you read the news? And then maybe 100,000 those who are born and raised here are going to college every year. Or maybe a little plus and minus. So the number of Hindus on university campuses, American university campuses, is rapidly increasing. What I mentioned about Anandibai Joshi has a different aspect to it. It's not only about excelling, but she also represents a social change that was taking place. The Hindu civilization, suppressed for centuries and having all its social structures degraded, was trying to come up again, rise again. One of the indications was that women going back to school and getting educated. It was a lost tradition. Long ago we had women who were educated and intellectually, they showed the intellectual prowess. But then, that period of time in history, the social structure was degraded. And Anandibai Joshi represents that kind of symbolic rise of Hindu women. Then there were people who were thinking that how can we come out of the British imperialism and what we need to do for our own country. And the first student to come to MIT from India is one Keshav Bhatt, who came in 1882, as early as 1882. Why did he come? Because he read in the newspaper called Maratha run by Lokmanya Tilak, English newspaper. In that, Lokmanya Tilak writes that the British have stalled all our progress. We have no access to technology. And we should go to England for that. Rather, we should go to America because that's where the new technology is developing. And he writes about MIT in that. Reading that in the newspaper, Keshav thinks that I need to go to MIT and study. And he comes. So his motivation is that I will go gain the best knowledge and come back to my country and serve. And then there was Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, who comes to Columbia University in 1930. Graduates with a master's in 1916 and a PhD in 1927. Marginalized because of the same degraded social structure in Bharat at that time, he symbolizes the unlocking of the hidden potential of all such people in Bharat. A revolution in making. So you can see that universities in America, people coming here, have created history. All of you know about Gadar movement, do you? It was Lala Haradayal who studied in Stanford University. It was Kartar Singh Sarabha who studied in UC Berkeley. It was Dr. Khankhoje who also studied in California, the agricultural scientist. All of them became part of the Gadar movement, a revolutionary movement to free India from the British rule. That's happening right here in America, universities in America. That is 100 plus years ago, I feel. Now, much more than that time, we are at a time where we have the numbers, we have the capability, we have the aspiration, we can have the confidence. And if we do our things well, we will be able to make an impact, not only in the Hindu society in America, but the entire society in America. One of Swami Vivekananda's disciples, Eleanor Stark, she has written a book. The book is titled The Gift Unopened. She says that Swami Vivekananda brought a gift to America and that remains unopened as yet. Does this happen ever? If anybody gives you a gift, you rush to open it to see what it is and you enjoy it. So the time has come where the gift that Swami Vivekananda brought to this country of dharma, of yoga, of spirituality, of many other things that will make the society stable, peaceful, harmonious. It is time that we again open it and share it, distribute it to the wider society in America. Who will do it? We will do it. And hence, running Hindu Yuva on campus is not only so that our presence is felt, not only so that our voice is heard, not only so that many Hindus who may go astray on campus, we will be able to bring them back and keep them in the fold. Not only so that we can defend anything that is Hindu-phobic. Not only for that, but we have a greater mission in the larger society, and that is why Hindu Yuva is not just a club. We have a great responsibility, a joyous responsibility that we can all shoulder, not individually, together. And hence, the entire effort to come together, to bring together, to realize the potential. And hence the theme of this summit was Charaiveti, that we must confidently move on, We may face some pushback, some resistance, but a little resistance is good. You see, if there is no resistance, we can't even walk. If everything is smooth, actually it is not smooth, it could be. But then, we need to learn how to navigate our way and make our a little path into a broad hut. That is our job. For which, you feel very good when 300, 400, 800 students come to our campus events. Such a good feeling, isn't it? You feel so enthusiastic, so motivated. That is important, that is wonderful, that is good news. But we should never forget that those 300, 400, 800 have come because of the 10, 15 committed group of Karyakartas that you have in your chapter. Let's pay attention to that equally. Only then we can do even better and bigger things. That Charaiveti, it comes from one scripture called Aitariya Brahmana. It is part of Rig Veda, where Rohit, the son of King Harishchandra, he has gone to the jungle. I won't tell the whole story, you can read yourself. And he wants to go back to his father because his father needs him to complete one yajna. But on the way, Indra stops him and he gives him one advice. He says that somebody who keeps moving constantly, what happens to such a person? And there is a lot of description. There are 5 slokas and the constant refrain is Charaiveti. That because of that you will get physical strength. Because of this you will get mental strength. Because of this you will get wealth in your life. Because of this you will get comforts in your life. And then he goes on saying that because of this walking, moving ahead, you will gain spiritual knowledge as well. So to attain anything material or spiritual, Charaiveti. That is the advice that Rohit is getting from Indra. That is our mantra. We sang this song yesterday. There is another one from Kathopanishad which says, Uttishtata, Jagrata, Prapya Varan Vibodhata. That, what is it? Arise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached. Because in those 5 shlokas it says that somebody who is sleeping, his bhagya also sleeps. Somebody who is sitting, his bhagya remains sitting. Somebody who is standing, his bhagya also is at one place. Only if somebody is moving, bhagya will also move. Bhagya means fortune, good fortune. And hence, when we work with this kind of confidence and conviction, at the same time compassion in our hearts. 4 years ago when the World Hindu Congress took place here, that time one statement was used for the conference. It says, Sumantrite, Suvikrante, Sukrite, Suvicharite. Going back to that being courageous or risk-taking without being reckless. You see, Bhima was a very impulsive person. No? He wants to do things now. Finish it off. So once somebody has attacked them, and Yudhishthira, all of them are in the jungle, and Bhima says, let's go and fight them, finish them off. So Yudhishthira says, calm down. Said, I'll let you know how success can be achieved. He says, Sumantrite, well discussed, well consulted. Suvikrante, done with a lot of courage, bravery. Sukrite, well executed. Sukrite, Suvicharite, well thought out from all 360 degrees. Then what happens? Then he says, Daivam, your fate will also follow you. The fate has no choice but to give you success. I feel this summit is an example of Sumantrite Suvikrante. The entire planning team, the entire Vyavastha team, and all of you have put their efforts in the right way, thought 360 degrees. And the result is that we have achieved it great success of this summit. Let this summit be the benchmark for each and everything that we go back and do in our chapters with that kind of class, elegance, finesse. Let us do each and everything. Events, development of the Karyakartas, and making an impact on the campus. What happens on the campus will actually spill over in the entire community. And hence, the responsibility lies on all your shoulders. I am fully confident that you are capable of doing it, delivering it, and feeling that inner joy, that sense of satisfaction, fulfillment of being part of something so big, so meaningful, so wholesome. Something that is creating a greater well-being for Hindus and for the larger society. My best wishes to each and every one of you in your careers, in whatever you choose to become and do, at the same time in your Hindu Yuva chapters and in the larger efforts beyond that. Namaste.